Welcome into the Otson Audibles podcast. I'm at Prehm and Erik Skopil on the show as always, and also welcome to the YouTube stream. We're continuing to do these more and more, recapping Oregon's 2021 spring football game. Oregon's offense won this one 35-34, and it literally came down to the final play of the game. The game was won by Robbie Ashford, Oregon's freshman quarterback, and also baseball star, scrambling out of the pocket on a 2-point conversion and scrambled his way into the end zone for a diving score, which was ruled a touchdown, giving them the 35-34 point win. A game in which there was plenty to like on both sides of the football, plenty to work upon, moving forward. A lot to dive into on this show, and we're going to break down the entire spring game and kind of our thoughts and everything that's transpired in this performance on Saturday at Autzen Stadium. 2 p.m. kickoff. The game was on Pac-12 Network, so if you missed it, try and find a replay on the Pac-12 networks. I'm sure they're going to show it over the next couple of days, but things started off pretty strong right from the get-go. Travis Dye scored a touchdown on a 26-yard pass from senior quarterback Anthony Brown, who was your first-team quarterback for the Oregon Ducks in this game.
All day.
Jay Butterfield was the program's second-string quarterback, the second quarterback, if you will, to get onto the football field. He threw a touchdown pass on the second possession, 11 yards to Chris Hudson. Henry Cattleman made 2 field goals, 37 yards, and an impressive 52-yarder as well. Robbie Ashford connected on a 44-yard touchdown pass to Dante Thornton, which ultimately ended up being the game-winning touchdown. And then walk-on Aaron Smith, he added a 4-yard touchdown run in the midway through the second quarter for that one. A game in which Eric, I think we should start here. Offense came out on fire. 2 straight scores. They scored almost all of their points in the first half. 3 touchdowns, 2 field goals in that first half period. And then the defense in the second half, they really locked things up and at one point even had the lead.
Yeah, it was a tale of a couple halves. And honestly, I thought the offense stole the show on the first 3 or 4 drives and looked really, really good. And it kind of felt like, oh my gosh, the offense, which is kind of what the first scrimmage looked like that we saw. My gosh, are they just going to run away with this, dominate this? And we should note the scoring is funky. So it's the fact that it comes down to the end of the game. The defense didn't score touchdowns, but they got points for forcing turnovers, for
3 and outs,
sacks, and so forth and so on. So, and fourth downs, for forcing turnovers on downs. So that's how they were accumulating points. That's how you get to 35-34. But at one point it was 14-0 offense, and it was 27-14 at half. And it really felt like the offense got control on this. And like Matt said, the defense just played really well. And I think you go through this and we'll have a lot to talk about from a position by position breakdown, quarterback, obviously. But I thought you saw over the course of the game that this defense can really, really cause some problems. And at times in the second half, the Oregon's second-team offensive line had no chance against the defense. And I thought the pass rush was really impressive. They shut down the run game in the second half. They forced a couple of turnovers. All in all, that second half was really impressive from the defense. And it followed a first half where, at least early on, the offense moved it pretty effectively. And we're going to talk about a bunch of different position groups, but spread it around to a bunch of really good young receivers. And I think that's one of the talking points coming out of spring is this offense has some real playmakers at wide receiver and at tight end.
From a quarterback perspective, stat-wise, Anthony Brown got the heaviest individual workload, went 20 for 29 on passing, went for 230 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. No quarterback threw an interception in this game, while yet there was an interception in this game. Anthony Brown also had a quarterback rating of 147, showed the ability to run a little bit, had a couple first down scrambles for Oregon. But overall, your thoughts on Anthony Brown and just kind of how he looked in a game in which There were a lot of eyes on the senior quarterback because he's taken every single rep in spring ball with the first team offense.
Yeah, I think one thing I want to say about quarterback before we jump into kind of evaluations is it's worth noting that sort of tough to do this because of the play at corner. Oregon was out without their top 3 corners and really had 2 scholarship corners. And so Brown was facing 2 scholarship cornerbacks while the second team guys were facing like walk-on safeties, like legitimately guys that don't even play the position, that aren't on scholarship. And I say that just to say like the level of competition was different because Brown was a first team offense. They were going 1v1. They were facing the first team defense, and the first team defense, while it didn't have Mikhail Wright or DJ James or Triquez Bridges, at least had a couple of scholarship guys in Dante Manning and Jalen Davies. So I point that out just to kind of like at least at the top acknowledge that, so you don't come away going like, man, it was all even out there and the younger guys really outperformed. Because I think when you kind of slice it here, Anthony Brown, to me, here's kind of what I came away with is like Anthony Brown can manage a game. He can make all the throws underneath. I think he makes good decisions with the ball. I just thought there were too many missed throws downfield, and I think that was the one thing I came away a little bit concerned with. I mean, offense was awesome today. Loved a lot of what they were doing from a scheme perspective. Loved the way they got some players involved in space. But I want to see a little bit more vertically, and we'll talk about in a second. The other guys, the younger guys, were able to have some success throwing the ball down the field, whereas Anthony Brown, for the most part, was kind of game managing 15 yards, 20 yards at most downfield. The other guys kind of unleashed it a little bit, and I kind of liked seeing a little bit of that from an offense that I think a year ago, especially at the end of the season, was missing that component, the ability to stretch the field. So I don't know if Brown just didn't have the opportunities out there, or if we have to give a lot of credit to Manning and Davies compared to the other teams' kind of corners. But it just seemed like it was difficult for Brown to connect down the field while the other ones had some success.
I would agree with that there were some times, I mean, he missed a wide open touchdown throw to Johnny Johnson. They ended up scoring, I think, on that drive. Travis Dye got the score. So it ended up not costing the first team offense points. But yeah, like you said, I mean, we were on this podcast, a couple weeks ago, talking about how you wanted to see the downfield throws because, fair or not, you had that image of him missing a Devin Williams in the Fiesta Bowl, wide open Devin Williams for the touchdown. And it just wasn't completed. And that popped up a little bit in this game again. And he went 20 of 29 for 230 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions.
He wasn't bad.
Was he perfect? No, he was not perfect. Was he bad? Absolutely not. I mean, I think if you told Duck fans, hey, your quarterback's going to throw for 230 yards, he's going to throw for 1 to 2 touchdowns every game, and you're going to win 11 out of your 12 regular season games, you would take that at 100%. And so I looked at Brown and thought, he is what you need right now to maximize from what you have at quarterback to maximize the talents that you have at receiver and at tight end.
The thing that I think is exciting, though, about the backups, and we'll talk more about what Mario Cristobal said afterwards, because I think it's pretty clear going into the offseason that, like, Brown's the guy.
Yeah.
Like, they want him to be the guy. But the guys behind him came out, and Jay Butterfield's first throw was like a 40-yard pass to Dante.
44-yard pass.
It was a really nice throw, right on the money for a long gain. He caught it, and it started things off. And then Butterfield ended up finishing off with a Chris Hudson touchdown. It was a pretty easy throw because Hudson got open, but like put it on the money. It was a touchdown. Good stuff. Ty Thompson comes out. He has some success throwing the ball down the field. Robbie Ashford has the pass to Dante Thornton for the touchdown to win basically put the game away and win it. These are all throws down the field that Anthony Brown really didn't make. And so, like, the younger guys did not – like, there was definitely some mistakes made. I think Ty Thompson in particular, like, of the 3 backups, had the worst day. He was 5 for 9 for 75 yards. The other guys each threw touchdowns. Each had more than 120 yards passing. Each were better completion percentages. I mean, Robbie Ashford quietly 7 for 8 for 123 and a touchdown. Butterfield 6 for 9 for 118 and a touchdown. What you saw in this game, I think, is that the upside's really high with the younger guys, but that right now they're best off with Anthony Brown. And I think it's a pretty interesting dynamic here. And it's I think this pregame kind of proved what we thought it would be, which is that you've got Anthony Brown, a veteran guy. He was reliable. He was, I think, pretty consistent, but he doesn't quite have that upper tier of maybe arm talent or ability to go out and win you a game and put it on his back. The other guys all maybe have more of that, but don't have the reliability part and miss some throws that you shouldn't have. So it's like it's that kind of balance of the high ceiling, high floor kind of guys. And Brown's a high floor because he's a 6th-year senior and he's an experienced guy. Other guys all have pretty low floors right now, but really high ceilings, but are all young guys. So it played out the way I think we talked about it all spring, in terms of like you've got the veteran and you've got some young guys, and the young guys made some mistakes, but boy, when it was working, it was really working.
You want to look at what the other guys did. Jay Butterfield, 6 of 9, 118 yards, 1 touchdown. His quarterback rating 213.5. Ty Thompson, 5 of 9, 75 yards. His QB rating 125.6. Robbie Ashford. This is a performance that's super, super under the radar. I think. Like, I walked away from this game thinking Anthony Brown is your probably most consistent quarterback. You're probably your opening day starter for the Oregon Ducks.
Yeah.
Jay Butterfield was probably the guy that I was the most impressed with, probably the best arm. 6 of 9, 118 yards. I mean, that throw that he made to open the game for the second unit was unbelievably good. Looked like it was like a second-year starter, totally not fooled by the defense, completely comfortable in his element, making the plays and confidence in himself. But Robbie Ashford, 7 of 8, 123 yards, 1 touchdown, had the best QBR rating of the group, 257.9. And then rushing the football, he was 3 for -7 yards and 1 touchdown, but he just looked very athletic, like the most fluid guy back there.
Yeah,
I mean, he's a baseball star for the baseball team as well. Like, that's a guy, like, if he sticks it out and plays at Oregon for 5 years, like, he could be the starter in 2022, 2023, 2024. Like, he feels like a really good guy whose football is still way ahead of him.
I think the funny part is I think pretty clearly the guy we were maybe least impressed with was Ty Thompson.
Yeah.
Which is like the guy everybody wanted to see. And he wasn't, and again, I don't think he was bad. I don't think any of the quarterbacks were bad, but he had probably more freshman moments than the others, and and had a harder time completing some of the passes. You saw the arm. I can't remember who caught it, but he had a couple downfield that were pretty impressive. But like, yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of funny that you come away thinking that way. And I think you look at this group, and again, I don't think anything changed after today. I mean, we kind of talked about that's being a possibility. It honestly, it kind of feels like everybody sort of did what we expected they might do. You know, like Brown was solid, and the other guys all had moments, but other moments where they were kind of maybe a little bit out of their element. You know, and then Robbie Ashford only had 1 incompletion, but there were maybe some decisions in terms of when he ran the football, holding on to the ball. I think he was sacked twice. That maybe you'd like to have back. So, like, I don't think we feel any different right now going in out of spring in terms of, like, I think Anthony Brown's the opening day starter, and I think now it's a matter of what can these guys do during the offseason, and probably more than likely this is something where maybe the Jay Butterfield or Ty Thompson or Robbie Ashford, one of the three, like, kind of elevates and becomes the clear number 2. Or maybe the big storyline at quarterback throughout the fall is just that question of who is the number 2 guy. Because I don't come away thinking Anthony Brown is losing this job until there are games played that count in September, October, November. And for that to happen, he's going to have to play really poorly, or one of these younger guys is going to have to overtake him.
What is more likely? Anthony Brown, if healthy throughout the entire season, let's say Oregon plays 13 games. Anthony Brown starts all of those 13 games because if he stays healthy, you know, injuries don't prevent him from, you know, starting a game, essentially. Okay. Or one of the other freshmen ends up taking the job. What do you feel like is more likely?
I mean, I'm impressed with the upside of the younger guys. I think it's hard not to be. I'll lean with the first answer, though, just based upon kind of the history of what we've seen from Mario Cristobal of being pretty loyal to the older guys. And we just saw it with Ty Thompson last year, where they stuck with Tyler Shuck last year. They stuck with Tyler Shuck all year until the end. And I just don't think it's super likely that Anthony Brown just gets pulled this season unless somebody else really steps up. And I'm not saying that can't happen, but if I'm picking which is more likely, I think Brown has proven to be very competent, be very composed and to be somebody who, frankly, like, you know, he's going to give you an opportunity to win football games. I don't think he's going to be out there making mistakes that ruin games for you, whereas the other guys might. So, like, I'd probably lean towards Brown just being the opening day and the end of season starter, just because I think they probably go with seniority.
I would lean with Anthony. I would lean with Anthony Brown being the full-time starter if healthy for the entirety of the 2021 football season. I think you hit the square. You know, you hit it nail on the head that we walked into the spring game thinking he was the best guy, and we walked out of the spring game thinking he was the best guy. I will think like some of these younger quarterbacks might have the talent to win a game that Anthony Brown can't win, but I just don't think that they're reliable enough yet. And you know, maybe they make a big jump in the spring and then into the summertime, and maybe they get some game reps that change things. But I think Anthony Brown's your most reliable guy at quarterback right now, your most consistent guy. He doesn't have a ton of peaks and valleys, if you will, with his game. And what you have on offense, at offensive line, at running back, and certainly at receiver and certainly at tight end, you need that consistency